I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, so I don't support him in the Obama things that he's got going on. I'm actually really excited for President-elect Donald Trump.
Right. So you don't like anything Obama does, and you prefer the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I support Obamacare.
So if you were a senator and you could vote today, you would vote to keep Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I guess the Affordable Care Act.
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I'm not really sure. My girlfriend supports Trump, so I go with whatever she says.
What is the main difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act?
One is you pay, and then the other one is Obama pays for you.
Right, Obama pays. Pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
I believe that Obamacare, the premiums are too high, so people end up paying more.
Right.
So I believe in the Affordable Care Act.
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare.
Right, correct.
Right.
So during 2025, I've said 2026 would be the year of FAFO when it comes to health insurance premiums. And guess what state is going to get hit the hardest?
Congress has failed to extend the federal subsidies that help cover the cost, and the greatest impact could be in the state of Florida. Why? Because it has far more Obamacare enrollees than any other state in this country.
And one example from the state of Florida is Kylie, age 30.
Our health insurance premium is effectively tripling from 2025 to 2026.
Kylie Barrios says that premium is going from about $900 to $2,500 next year. For the 30-year-old living in Florida, that means foregoing insurance.
The whole system feels as though it's failed and isn't advocating for me as a small business owner, as somebody who wants to become a mom and have a family.
And you can probably correctly guess as to how Kylie voted in the last election.
I've generally voted Republican, and I still do believe that to some extent that it is the party that better serves my values, but I would like them to act on those values that they claim to protect.
Yeah, and those values that you voted in for are to give tax cuts to the wealthy billionaire, which I'm going to correctly assume is not you. And just as a little bit of a refresher course, during Donnie's first term, he tried to gut the Affordable Care Act in general. And during the 2024 election season, this is what he said when asked if he actually had a plan for healthcare.
Just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now.
Well, 1 year in, and we still have not heard any type of concept of a plan. But in conclusion, to Kylie, all I have to say to you is, have the lack of healthcare that you voted for. Bye.
Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so.
You're putting America's babies' health at risk, America's seniors' health at risk, all Americans' health at risk, and you should resign.
You're interrupting me, and sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are.
There's a battle raging over public health in America. The state of Florida planning to end federal mandates to vaccinate. The head of the agency tasked with disease prevention sacked. And Donald Trump's health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., under scrutiny on Capitol Hill.
You just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a statement.
I did not say that.
Okay, then let me ask, because you also were...
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact.
You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You don't have any idea how many Americans died from COVID?
We literally did worse than any country in the world. And the people at CDC who oversaw that process, who put masks on our children, who closed our schools, are the people who will be leaving.
All of these Trump voters admitting that they didn't realize that Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act when they vehemently hated Obamacare is one of the most openly racist things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't understand how they don't have the critical thinking and the thought process to just know not to say that out loud because of just how simply racist it is that they were so against Obamacare just because they associated it with Obama, which was the point. That's why Republicans coined Obamacare, so that racist people would hate it, without understanding what it was.
So now they want to come for Medicaid, and Donald Trump is going to straight up lie to people's face. He'll say, we're going to love on Medicaid. But then they pass a bill that says they have to cut $880 billion from the committee that administers Medicaid and Medicare. The math ain't mathin'. It is going to cut Medicaid. They are going to make cuts to Medicaid if we let them go forward with this. And part of the reason I really wanted to talk about this at the state house is a lot of these Republicans in the state house and the state Senate are getting off way too easy.
So a Republican woman is in shock because she showed up at the hospital in Florida with an ectopic pregnancy and they told her they couldn't help her because of the law, just like we said that they would. So she was so upset she called the governor because, of course, when you're in the middle of a medical emergency, you want to call a politician. But he didn't pick up the phone. And how many women have their governor's number on speed dial? So after several hours of begging and pleading for them to help her like we said they'd make you do, they finally let her end the ectopic pregnancy before her fallopian tubes burst and she lost all ability to reproduce. And yet, she's trying to blame this on Democrats. But we said that when you showed up at the hospital, they wouldn't ask you who you voted for or what party you belonged to, and they wouldn't ask you what your interpretation of the bill was. They were just going to go by the law. So her care was delayed. I'm very happy she got the care that she deserved, but it was delayed. And there are other women out there whose care is being delayed. And that is putting their lives at risk and their reproductive health care at risk.
Family. Florida is one of the clearest examples of how political slogans turn into real-life consequences. Obamacare was never perfect, family, but it gave millions access to coverage they couldn't afford. Otherwise, working people, retirees, small business owners, and even families living paycheck to paycheck especially. And for years, family, MAGA leaders told Florida voters that ending it, which is the Obamacare, would bring something better, bring something cheaper, something freer. And what they didn't explain was what happens in the gap between repeal and reality. And insurance companies' family didn't lower prices out of goodwill. Hospitals didn't become charities. Medical care didn't suddenly become affordable just because people voted against the policy that they made it accessible. And instead, Floridians are now facing massive deductibles, denied coverage, skipped doctor visits, and even impossible choices between rent, between food, and even prescriptions. And what's striking is not just the pain, it's the disbelief. Many truly believed the cuts were meant for someone else. The Obamacare was for lazy people, immigrants, or even big cities, not retirees in Florida, not conservative families, not lifelong workers who did everything right. But healthcare policy doesn't work on vibes or loyalty, family. When protections disappear, they disappear for everyone. Cancer doesn't care who you voted for. Accidents don't check party affiliation. Aging doesn't pause because you believe the wrong promise. Now, as Florida MAGA voters struggle to afford basic care, the same empathy they once mocked has become something they desperately need. And family, empathy matters, and people deserve care. People deserve dignity and even compassion. But empathy without accountability, family, doesn't fix the system. And so this moment demands reflection. You can't spend years cheering the destruction of a safety net and then be shocked when you fall through it. And so Florida isn't experiencing betrayal, family. It's simply experiencing the outcome of political choices. The real question is whether this pain will finally cut through the propaganda or whether new villains will be blamed while the same circle continues. Because healthcare isn't a reward, family. It's a privilege for the right voters. It's a necessity, and Florida is learning that lesson the hardest way possible.